the public will be able to utilize coming into City Hall as well as the police station. So in June 2018, the Selma Traffic and Streets Commission approved a resolution to actually redesign Tucker Street out here in the front of City Hall, making it a one-way. So the increase in parking will actually give us an additional 20 parking spaces in the front of City Hall by doing so. Do you have any, as you can see the design there, did you have any questions?
Does council have any questions?
Oh, no, it's good design.
It's just that one half
Very
block
good.
of Tucker Street?
It's just that front street, that's correct.
Yep, yeah,
When,
Wood Street.
when will this happen?
We
When
have
is
to go
this
through the
taking
approval process. Is there another step after this? This is public hearing, can we do it right after?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this evening you have the introduction of an ordinance. At the next meeting, if the ordinance is introduced, you would have the adoption of the ordinance, and then 30 days after that, the ordinance would take effect.
Can it be at the next meeting, or does it have to be at the meeting after next meeting?
It can be at the next meeting. It just has to be 5 days after you introduce, at
So we-
least 5 days
So
after
we
you
can
introduce it.
streamline it, so we can streamline the next meeting?
The next meeting, we can put it on consent if it's introduced this
Okay.
evening.
And then how will the road be designated one way? Are the signs ready? I mean, how's that?
So we'll get all the appropriate signage. As far as really what needs to be done is just striping. So we'll work with Public Works and getting that
Sorry,
task
one
put
way
together.
into by the chamber.
Members of the public have any questions on turning Tucker into a one-way? Please come up and identify yourself.
Matthew Rodriguez, 1313 Sarah Street. I just had a question about the picture. You said it was 20 additional parkings. There's 14 stalls there, and there was parking there in the first place. So where's the 20?
So to answer your question,
Park on either side.
sides of the streets that are actually getting parking. So these are slots as well as this is slots. So if you count each side, you get 20.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
Mr. Mayor, if I may, just a reminder this evening for the introduction of an ordinance. It's a two-step process. First, we would need a motion to waive the reading and read by title only. And Madam City Clerk would then read the title of the ordinance, and then the second would be to introduce the ordinance.
I'll make a motion to waive the reading ordinance and read by title only.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Call the roll, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Franco.
Aye.
Councilmember Trujillo.
Aye.
Councilmember Avalos.
Aye.
Councilmember Guerra. Mayor Robertson.
Aye. Okay, item 2.
Wait, we need a second motion.
Is there a motion? to
Mr. Mayor, now
introduce
she
the-
needs to read the ordinance by title only.
And then we make a motion?
I'll make a motion,
She's got to read it first.
to accept it.
This is an
Yeah.
ordinance of the Selma City Council amending section 10-6-3, one-way street designated of chapter 6, one-way streets and alleys of title 10, traffic of the Selma Municipal Code to amend the Tucker Street designation and a notice of exemption regarding the same.
Okay, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Let's call the roll, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Franco.
Aye.
Councilmember Trujillo.
Aye.
Councilmember Avalos.
Aye.
Councilmember Guerra. Mayor Robertson.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, item 6, consideration of a resolution adopting the city's 2019-20 fiscal year budget.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. The general fund budget, as well as some other budgets, the enterprise funds and internal services, will be adopting today. We've had 3 workshops where we've gone over these budgets, March 23rd, May 28th, and June 10th. So before you today is the approved document. We added the firefighter position, which was requested in our last budget. So all those requests has now been entered into the budget. Is there any items you'd like to go over?
So how many items?
No,
Anything you want to review?
no, I have a
wanna-
comment. I'd like to thank you for all the information you provided, the manager, I'd like to thank you guys. I think this year's budget that we've discussed in the last 3 meetings, I think we need to start having more of these. I think it's been really good, it's been intense, hot, but it's been good for our community. And I wanna thank you for giving that information and following with all the information that we requested.
You're welcome.
Okay?
Does anyone in the public have any items they would like to comment on?
My goodness.
Good evening, Mayor Robertson, members of the council. Council. My name is Marco Segura. I am an attorney with Central California Legal Services. My client, Maria Ramirez, is a citizen of Selma. She's here to provide public comment on the budget. I'm simply here to provide translation if necessary, although I think you guys do have a translated letter of her statement. It was just passed out. It's the very last letter in the stack of papers you guys received.
Okay.
Buenas noches, yo soy María Ramírez. Yo he vivido por muchos años aquí en Selma y yo vengo a dar mi conferencia de lo que he vivido aquí en Selma. Quiero que sea escuchado porque aquí vivimos mucha gente hispana que puede hacer grandemente la comunidad de Selma. Yo viví en una casa por 5 o 6 años, pero el dueño nunca hizo nada de lo que voy a decir en esta carta que tengo. Yo, María Ramírez, les quería decir que tuve problemas con la casa, sin luz. Viví desde septiembre. Se empezó a mojar el techo. Yo le avisé al dueño. Él nomás iba y se subía al techo y decía que estaba bien. Se hizo moho en los cuartos. De ese moho, mi hija a los 16 años se enfermó de muchas cosas de respirar. Y iba a la escuela y iba a trabajar y se tuvo que mudar a Fresno con su amiga porque ella ya no aguantaba respirar. Y yo, pues como yo también me enfermé de cáncer, yo no hallaba cómo salir también de allí. Y lo que les quiero decir es que vivimos aquí y en verdad los dueños que les rentamos no nos hacen caso. Pero les voy a leer poquito de esta carta. Dice: mi nombre es María Ramírez. Quiero compartir mi historia con ustedes. He vivido en Selma durante muchos años aquí. Es donde crié a mis hijos y están en la Unión, ciudad que se sienten como una casa para mí. Salió a alquilar una casa en la ciudad, pero tenía que mudarme porque yo ya no era seguro para mí vivir ahí. La casa está es muy malas condiciones. Necesitaba una nueva techo y el propietario se negó a arreglar. Incluso después de la diremos la mala que está en el techo con gotas hizo que la casa estuviera llena de moho. Arruinó muchas de mis cosas, incluso los colchones que me costaron más de $1,000. Había mucho por todo partes de la casa, habitaciones de mi hija y la hizo enfermar con problemas respiratorios. El propietario nos dijo que solo echáramos como un líquido, como Clorox, y que se iba a quitar, pero se quedó. Cada año salía. Cada año salía. Pero yo les quiero decir que podemos hacer más en la comunidad. Tengo mucho aquí que quería darles, pero pues si ya se acabó mi tiempo, pero quiero que lo miren y que miren lo que vivimos aquí en Selma hasta que yo llamé a un inspector.
Déjame preguntarle, ¿el dueño vive aquí en Selma?
Sí, vive allí por la Dinuba.
¿Y cuántas veces usted habló con él de la programa?
Muchas veces hablé con él. hasta que yo le llevé una carta del inspector
Sí.
y él me mandó una por correo porque no pudo venírmela a dar personalmente. Él me mandó una carta por correo diciéndome, yo duré 6 meses sin luz en mi casa, 6 meses, desde septiembre hasta en marzo que yo me salí el 15 de marzo y yo viví sin luz en los baños. Yo tengo mi teléfono quemado porque yo me bañaba con la luz del teléfono y se le metió el agua. Porque él no hizo caso de nada, hasta que yo en el 2/11 busqué ayuda y fui con la abogada.
Oh, qué
Fui
bueno.
con la abogada porque
Sí.
yo ya no aguantaba, pero me tuve que salir porque muchos problemas. Mi novio se enfermó de los pulmones. Yo tengo pruebas de los colchones todavía y
Sí.
todavía no los acabo de pagar. Los saqué en la mueblería Serranos y todavía no los acabo de pagar los colchones.
Ok. Pero ya no vive ahí.
No, ya no vivo. Yo me tuve que mudar con mis papás porque yo ya no aguantaba la situación. ¿Quién va a aguantar la situación sin luz
Sí.
y pagando un bill de luz?
Okay. My question to the council,
Well, you know what?
legal counsel. I know she has rights.
Yes.
Now, are you addressing that with the owner of the property?
We are helping her with her housing situation.
Okay.
The purpose of her making a statement today is to touch on 2 issues. Number one is the conditions that she lived in for a very long time. As she mentioned, now she lives with her parents. She struggled to find a place that she can afford.
Mm-hmm.
So
Let-
she went from a terrible situation from a habitability standpoint, and now it's about affordability. And I think the council member has it.
Yeah, Ms. Ramirez, since you're legal counsel here, has she tried for some of the parts? We have apartments here in town that do have affordable housing here, and you can apply for Section 8, you know, the proper channels, and Section 8 has rules and guidelines that meet these unemployable conditions, you know, that she's talking about. So, has she done that with the housing authority,
I don't
Fresno
wanna
Housing Authority? Has she
discuss
reached out?
personal, we've worked with her on all of that. The purpose of today's statement is much broader than that. Again, it's about housing affordability, which is about zoning. And for that, absolutely necessary, not in and of itself sufficient, but it's necessary to come into compliance with the housing code, and that requires resources. And then the second major point, more general point, is housing, improving the quality of the housing stock. And that requires code enforcement, specifically active, engaged code enforcement that treats both landlords and tenants equally. And so we want to commend the city for some of the steps that they've taken in this budget to address those issues. But Ms. Ramirez is here to not only tell her story, but serve as an example of how those issues negatively affect a lot of your constituents if those issues aren't addressed. And we are here personally as an organization to encourage you to keep the focus on that and keep people like Ms. Ramirez in mind when you're thinking about the budget and just generally planning issues, code enforcement issues, because again, they have a huge impact on people that normally don't have a voice, that wouldn't come here and speak to you guys.
First, I admire her coming to addressing the issue. Is- Gracias. Ven para acá. Yeah.
Sí.
But the other issue too is, you know, there's programs out there that assist, and we understand the issue. There's slumlords out there. There's everywhere, not just Selma, throughout other communities, and I think the city of Selma, we're trying to address some of the issues in our future budget, like bringing an extra code enforcer to try to facilitate some of those issues this lady was talking about right now. And and I'm glad she came and addressed these issues publicly to us. And we are looking at these items, honestly. So we have to develop a future plan, more hard line on the slumlords. You know, that's the key, really. That's where it's at, guys, you know. And we have to find some kind of mechanism with our code enforcer and the health department to facilitate some of these issues so these people can live in adequate conditions, you know. So, and that's all I gotta say right now. Thank you.
And Mr. Mayor, just to reiterate, again, we commend the city for the efforts they made. We commend the city. I want to make sure everybody hears that. And we encourage you to continue the efforts. And one last thing that I did mention before, we're here to assist in any way that we can. So just keep that in mind, and hopefully we can kind of move forward, address these issues in partnership. And I think Ms. Ramirez wanted to say one last thing. ¿Quiere decir otra cosa?
Sí, lo que le quería decir es que para que hagan algo bueno para buscar dónde vivir. Yo no quería ser carga para mis padres, pero ahora soy una carga porque vivo allá. No puedo encontrar apartamento, no puedo encontrar nada, porque el dueño no hizo nada. Luego que yo dejé la casa, yo se la dejé en buenas condiciones, como mejor de limpia que me la entregó. Y todavía quería que le lavara la alfombra y ya la rentó luego. ¿Por qué no miró primero a arreglar? Yo no sé si el inspector fue a ver después, pero ¿qué es lo malo que hace? Parcha, no quita lo que debe de ser, porque él tiene más casas de renta, no nomás la mía, tiene mucho más casas de renta. Y eso es lo que a mí me ha dolido, que yo nunca le quedé mal con la renta.
Sí.
Y es para que la comunidad de Selma mire lo que está pasando, para que haya más viviendas para vivir nosotros, porque nosotros podemos hacer más crecer la ciudad, más bonita.
Sí.
So Ms. Ramirez, just sort of reiterate, number one, the condition she was living in. And again, she wants to emphasize the fact that she struggles to find an affordable place to live. Because some of the programs that you mentioned, council member, they're out there, but it's not something you can readily obtain. Sometimes, for example, with Section 8, it's years before you get any sort of assistance, and it's a lottery system. Same thing with subsidized housing. There's wait lists years long sometimes. So
You know, I mean, and California has a, you know, the mayor, you know, addressed the issue when he went down south on the affordable housing. It's throughout, it's not just City of Selma, throughout the entire state.
41 cities
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
so-
are in non-compliance status.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He could testify for that. He went down there and got a,
Good talking to.
good talking to, let's put it that way.
Okay.
All
Yeah,
right?
Mr. Mayor, I don't want to leave the impression that this is a Selma-only problem. It's not. I practice out of Fresno. Fresno probably has one of the worst, you know, sort of deficits of affordable housing and slum housing. But, you know, we work valley-wide, and so it's not just Selma. We work, you know, Atwater, a variety of other jurisdictions here locally. So
It's
not just-
interconnected, and you know, definitely, it's interconnected affordable housing
Yeah.
and code enforcement, and that's why the city has moved, like, you know, the city has in unison to add that code enforcement officer, because the existing code enforcement officer is, quite frankly, a little overwhelmed, you know, in a city of 25,000, and so we're looking forward as a city to be able to reach out more and to find situations like Ms. Ramirez's, and there's no place for code enforcement officers that are involved in a relationship like this that's implied in the letter, but hasn't been proven. I would encourage Ms. Ramirez in the future to let the city know at City Hall through someone else, go through the channels to the city clerk and the city manager and the city attorney, the police department, to report any kinds of graft or corruption like that, because that will not be tolerated in the city.
And if I might, Mr. Mayor, would just add the CCLS and Ms. Ramirez's testimony here today in regard to affordable housing. The city does take that very seriously and is working to bring its housing element in compliance, as you indicated. And we did budget work with our consultants, Rincon, and their scope of work does include any potential text amendment that may be part of making that zoning to create more affordable housing in our community, properly zoned for that opportunity. And also, we have been working on recruiting a planning manager and putting resources to what it will take to bring that forward, as well as we recently entered into agreements with planning consultants, and I'm currently working with now formerly Quadnoff, but QK, in order to assist us and support us in planning as well as our work with Rincon. So just wanted to let you know that those things are budgeted for. We put considerably more resources to planning than we have in the past in order to make good headway on this.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you. Good.
We'll bring this back to council. Or actually, are there any more comments from the public tonight?
Matthew, is this on the budget or is it?
It's on the
general?
budget.
This on the budget?
Right. Good question. Okay.
No.
Are we ready?
No, he's gonna comment.
No, he's just waiting.
No.
I'm just waiting for you.
Okay, so we'll bring it back. Is there, any more discussion, or is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the budget.
I'll second.
Okay, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Trujillo.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Franco.
Aye.
Councilmember Avalos.
Aye.
Councilmember Guerra.
Aye.
Mayor Robertson.
Since we have a second, one last thing, I just want to say thank you again to staff for all the hard work. I agree, we've been meeting all year on this. We're not doing this briefly tonight. We've talked about this all year long. This has been cumulative, and we're able to, get to this point tonight where we can approve this budget after lots and lots of meeting and hashing things out. And I really appreciate that, how we have come to this point, this budget. It adds employees. It adds 16 employees to the city's roster of services. It allows us to expand those services. It uses taxpayer money to expand services to the taxpayer. And we also maintained our reserve of 20% of the budget. And we balanced the budget. We are not in deficit. So these are three things I think we can really be proud of. And with that, I would add my aye to the vote.
And just to add on to that too, you've also taken large steps today to actually address your pension issues that we currently have as well, by taking an additional step and making that additional payment to the UAL, about $370,000. So.
Right.
Okay, that will move on to consideration of resolution adopting the city's annual appropriations limit for fiscal year 2019-20 pursuant to Article 13B of the California Constitution.
Mayor, council member, before you is another document that we adopt every year. It's called your GAN limitations. I go through a process of calculating this gross factor and to come up with a unit of measurement for us to be able to adopt each year. The information that is provided for the calculation actually comes from the Department of Finance, which gives me my per capita cost of living and also my population change, which equates to your growth factor for the city. Is there any questions on this?
Is there anything different about the GAN factor this year? We've
Nope.
seen. Okay.
It's just running the numbers using the calculations the Department of Finance provides to us.
Are there any questions from council? Any members of the public like to weigh in on this topic? Okay, we'll bring it back to the council. Is
Yeah,
there a motion?
we've been working on this thing quite a while, so I think we're ready to rock and roll on this one.
Is that a motion?
Yeah, make a motion.
Is there a second?
A second.
Call the roll, please.
Thank you.
Councilmember Avalos.
Aye.
Councilmember Trujillo.
Aye.
Councilmember Guerra.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Franco.
Aye.
Mayor Robertson.
Aye. Okay, with this, we will kind of go off into a unique situation where I will reopen the meeting, the successor agency to the dissolved Selma Redevelopment Agency. And we will move on to, let's see, I stopped at oral. We will move on to the first and only agenda item, consideration of a resolution adopting the successor agency to the dissolved Selma RDA's agency 2019-20 fiscal year budget.
Thank you again, Mayor and council members. Before you use the budget for the successor agency, we're looking at an expense amount of $808,000 for the year. The majority of the expenditures within this entity are going to be bond debt structures. You have a 2010 bond, a USDA loan, a 94 bond, and that concludes it. And there's also some additional services, professional services, legal fees, and also staff time is actually paid through this for managing this organization or this entity. Is there any questions?
Questions from the council? I got a question. Are we any closer to being able to file for the dissolution of our local RDA? Are we? No.
No, Mr. Mayor, members of the agency board, sorry.
For meeting.
Because we still have pending litigation, we cannot close out our redevelopment agency.
Okay, because of the litigation.
The DOF litigation,
Didn't
which,
So it's not actually concluded yet.
no, it's not. And I'll provide an email update to council because I'm just as frustrated as you are.
And then about the housing element, does that have anything to do with it either?
No, that doesn't have anything to do with this.
With the RDA, okay. If and when we get past that, we will be able to file for the dissolution then of our local RDA, and at some point, is that a necessary first step to paying off our obligations and moving on to the state RDA?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, at this point, I need to check to see if we're past the time limits for all of that because at At
If we
some
can
point,
do
it
on
doesn't
one
matter
truck.
anymore, correct?
Okay,
Yeah.
so it'll just follow a time. If it's past that time, it'll
Right,
just
it'll
follow
just
the
dissolve on
statute.
its own,
Okay.
yep.
Thank you.
Thank
Does
you.
the public have any questions tonight on this topic? Okay, with that, we'll bring it back to council. Does anyone have more questions, or would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, is there a second
I'll second.
approving the budget? Call the roll, please.
Board Member Avalos.
Aye.
Board Member Trujillo.
Aye.
Board Member Guerra.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Franco.
Aye.
Chairman Robertson.
Aye, with that, I forgot to resist the other. Okay, with that, we will adjourn the successor agency to the dissolved Selma Redevelopment Agency special meeting and reopen the previous council meeting. I didn't recess, but we will get back to that now. And we are moving on to the last item, which will actually be departmental reports tonight. City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Members of council, I too would like to thank staff for all their work on the budget this year. It really was a big effort for everybody, including council and all staff, and especially thank Isaac and Heather for all the work they did on this. So thank you very much.
City Attorney Rojas.
Nothing to report, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Back to Department of Finance.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one thing to report. We actually received the final documents today for the Mountain View feasibility study. I will be uploading those to the city website so they can be accessed. And once that's there, I'll let you know how to find it so you can read it. But if you have any questions, please let me know.
The Mountain View feasibility study, who conducted that?
That was actually done by Caltrans.
Okay, and that's for the overpass?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so that report's ready?
It is ready. It's finalized. Correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Questions? Okay, on to Public Works. Shane?
Report this time.
Thank you. Fire Chief Peterson.
Well, summer's here, and we've already been
No
busy.
kidding.
So today we had 3 calls today involving brush fires. So last week we wrapped up some departmental refresher training. Just because most of what we do is in the urban environment. There's some special skills involved with going out and fighting the wildland fires and stuff like that. So every year we do try to do some refresher, and we completed that last week. And we have the state engine up and ready to go, and they will actually be taking it out tomorrow. Every year the county departments, or all the departments in the Fresno County area, they put on a kind of a simulation type training event up in the local foothills. So we'll be participating in that tomorrow. And then we also have a handful of individuals going down south to a training class that will provide them with some education on actually leading crews through operations within the wildland environment. So ramping up and getting ready to go.
Everybody in their turnouts tomorrow doing the practicing at 102 degrees?
The lighter turnouts, but yes.
Chief, I read something in the chamber newsletter this month about Cal OSHA proposing a rule change on employee exposure to wildfire smoke, raising the bar, lowering the threshold, I guess you would say, in terms of employees who need to wear respirators when they're doing outdoor work. I guess this could apply to our Public Works Department as well when the air is really bad. It's a proposal at this point, but apparently they can fast track these things at OSHA and get them turned into labor code within 30 days. Has anybody heard about this rule change, lowering the threshold where outdoor employees and when there's a fire around need to wear respirators? It might just be something to keep on the
I have
radar.
not heard about it, and
You guys wear them anyway, but I'm
Sure.
just thinking of outdoor employees, and when you're around a fire, it looks like the standard has gone.
It could be something that they implement. We just had a meeting with the state agencies, fire agencies here a couple weeks ago, and none of them brought up that as a concern.
When
So
you're out on a fire, do you have safety meetings? Does OSHA come out and do you guys have safety meetings?
we
you
have
folks?
safety briefings on typically they have main ones every 12 hours, and then each individual
On the actual incident?
Yes, and then each individual teams will have safety meetings upon their assignments. So they do occur pretty regularly.
Thank you. Police
Oh,
Chief Carter?
I'm sorry, one more follow-up. From last meeting, you had inquired about the warranty on the new engine.
Right.
And it is a 2-year general warranty.
Okay. Any mileage limitation on that?
No,
Do you put that many miles on it?
no, no.
Okay. It's just hardware. Thank you. Police Chief Garner?
Nothing to report.
Parks and Community Services?
Yeah, I'd just like to report the spray park was closed over the weekend due to a minor park. It turned out to be a screw head broken. It clogged up the lines, so we couldn't get the chemicals correct. But we've now that got that correct. It'll be back open tomorrow. I know Mayor Robinson attended. We've had good attendance on our first two Prop 68 community input meetings for the park, and so there's 3 more Wednesday night at 6:30, this next Saturday 9 a.m., and then the following Thursday or Wednesday at 3 p.m. So encourage as many residents can come. Anybody can come. It doesn't matter the number of people. It matters the input and how we formulate that into a report. But we've had 20 people at the first 2, which is good.
Great. How are the restrooms at Ringo Park doing?
Shane might be the better one to talk to.
I mean, are they pretty much ready to go? The park's ready to roll with the new.
At Ringo Park,
Yep.
we're probably, I'd say 90% there. I'm meeting with the contractor tomorrow mid-morning, and we should have it complete. They'll be ready for our final inspection. A little bit of grading work, just minor things, and ready to do a ribbon cutting.
Great.
Redid both shelters there. We painted the lights. We got the lights all working. The Hollywoods that are in that park. We took down the wrought iron fence in front of the park that was bent, damaged, ran into. We striped all the parking stalls, and it should be pretty nice. That park is used. I'm sure you guys are aware of it, but that park is used as much as Schaefer Park. It's a smaller park, but I mean it's used every single night. There's families out there. There's basketball. There's soccer. It's just as important as any other park in this town.
Summer too. The usage ramps up during the summer.
Definitely.
Kids are out of school.
Definitely.
Soccer, football. Sports.
Soccer, football, families out there eating dinner, having picnics.
Nice.
Yep.
It's gonna look really nice. Thank you. Is that it, Mike? Okay, thank you. That will move on to council reports. Councilman Trujillo?
Not too much. I just want to relate to the council that I participated in my first, or not my first, but my annual jury duty. I did 3 days straight, so that was, I'm happy to report you guys will be doing it. I did 3 days straight, and that was really nice and fun.
How'd you get on there?
It was fun.
That threw me off all the time.
That's one. The other one was really, really good meeting today in regards to SKF. We probably had about 3-hour discussion with the engineer and the finance individual. Really good discussion. It's something that I needed as a new council member, and we'll be maybe coming back and reporting some information that we've gathered. It's something very important because of the infrastructure. I think we need to get involved. I think we need to start paying more attention to it. So, but yeah, those are the only 2 things.
Thank you. Right. Councilmember Guerra?
Okay, I attended the 8th annual Ride Like a Champ memorial run for the Anthony Caro Memorial. I also attended the coffee with the mayor, and
Did he buy you coffee?
yeah,
I made her coffee.
I know. And then I also attended a meeting or a hearing for LAFCO.
Right.
Yeah, which just a concern, and I just want to make sure that we're going to look into that. But the prior council, we weren't here yet, approved the mini storage where the citizens from the McCall Village were very upset that, and other citizens that live in the area did not want, but it got approved. What we're getting from the citizens in that area is they need a street light. So that was something that I'm not sure was approved in the street studies, but I want for you to check into that, City Manager. I know you said you were going to look into that because it already gets very backed up with traffic in that area. And I know that was a huge concern for a lot of the citizens. So I kind of want to revisit, if we can, a street light when that development or starts to develop in that area.
I could take a look at what was approved in there as their conditions of development and let you know if it was or wasn't a condition of development. I don't know that it was, and the reasons why. And if we want a street light, what things would have to be there to trigger that.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or traffic signal.
Traffic
Yeah,
signal.
traffic
Traffic
signal.
And that was on
McCall and Dinuba.
Dinuba and McCall, that corner.
Point. Councilman
Oh,
Bravos.
okay, my turn now. Oh, okay, I attended, well, I had to take one of the residents live in the park, which is the owner of the shopping center of where the United Market's at, and he was, and that was one of the concerns he talked to the commission, was putting a street light in that particular area on Dinuba and McCall, because the traffic, if you go in about 3 or 4 o'clock, it's backed up. You know, and I can understand if you put the idea was to put a mini storage there. How are you gonna? He felt that it'd be blocking the issue, and they should put some traffic signalization there, because he's afraid he's gonna have a lot of accidents. People can't see and backing up traffic. You know, because people. He said people were cutting across his shopping center to get to the other side. You know, so I understood his concern, and then plus the seniors, they didn't want it either. So, you know, I understand that. So the other issue, I also attended the government Latino Fresno government meeting. T-Mobile was there doing the presentation. Isaac was there too, and there were discussion and on the and unfortunately our Attorney General has trying to put a block on the T-Mobile
suing that project, huh?
situation. So
That merger.
so they're working with the Attorney General to try to facilitate some issues there with the call center, creating jobs in the area. But that's one thing and another. But that's one issue. And also, I attended at the same time. Couldn't stay for the whole meeting. I had to leave because I had to attend the SKF meeting on the budget, on the rate case increase. Thanks to the city council giving me directions if I could facilitate some lower costs. Unfortunately, we you know, down the road we did come up with a lower cost. We started at over 5, and we come down to 3.5. And I tried to get 3.5, but it didn't work because of I think it would have worked if we didn't have the McCall issue. That was the main issue on the discussion with my colleagues on the SKF, and I think Johnny hit a good point. Back in the past, they didn't have a plan, a refurbishing plan to restructure the trunk lines. So with this mechanism they have, they're putting a little money in the kitty for in case for a rainy day for other cities that have some major issues like what happened to us in the McCall situation. So
they'll pay for us. They'll pay for our line
yeah,
if we have a situation with
yeah,
one of our
actually,
lines
you
in
know,
the
on the
future.
line they're ahead of schedule.
Oh, okay.
If you go out there and drive out there, they're way ahead of schedule, and I'm glad that Johnny went out there, and I think Frankel, did you go out there too? I understand you went out there too, and to get educated. I'm glad that you guys are getting involved and get educated, because I want you guys to get educated like I do. What's going on, you know, and to get what SKF actually does, and how they finance their operation and everything. And it's very important that that we have reports on the situations. That way, the council has communication
Thanks for
set up.
keeping us
It's
informed.
very important. So we all learn from each other, and that's a good thing.
Thank you.
And also, once again, I always thank the people that work for the city, staff all the way down. You know, I always commend them because they're hardworking people, and I know that when I came on here the first time, we had a lot of people. Now we don't, but once again, we have multitask people. They're very talented, and I commend them, everybody, all the way down from the ground up. And also thank the people that come out to hear our public comments and make public comments, and listen what is going on in our city government. I thank them very much, and I thank you, Vera. That's all I gotta say. Thank you.
Mr.
Pro
Ma-
Tem Franklin.
If I might just have a quick point of clarification, on the SKF, you mentioned that you had some information that you were able to discuss with them. There was a council request at the last meeting to get some more information on infrastructure. Has that been addressed, or was that still a council request? I just wanted to clarify.
Well, in the workshop.
There's been a lot of information that's been relayed. We met with the engineer and the finance individual that's in charge of financing there's the R&R. There's been a great amount of tax increases, but because of in regards to the infrastructure and their own facility, that's taken precedent to our infrastructure. So their plan of actions in 2010 is going to need our city council to put some more teeth into some of our information that we relay to them. Let's just say that. And they also taught us what was their responsibility and what is our responsibility. I think that is where we are misunderstanding. And I think Mr. Mayor, it would be nice for us to have a workshop so they could have us understand what part of the sewer lines are our responsibility and what theirs is. And what they say theirs is, the lift stations, what their responsibility, what it's costing, and when we do a rate increase, what percentages. Right now, we've asked them to give us a percentage of when they give us a rate increase. That doesn't necessarily mean that we will get the full amount of. We might not even get any for our infrastructure plan. I think Mr. Franco can relay that message because it's really important for us to understand that. So when we get and start talking to our constituents, because then we'll understand too why we haven't fixed our infrastructure.
Because it's called SKF. It's not just K, with where the facility is. There should be.
You can relay some of that.
Should be more information. Yeah, we're all paying into that.
So I think the consensus is we still would like to have something in the future
Yes.
with
They
them.
said they were gonna do a workshop,
Yeah,
so
they said they were gonna come back the last
are they
time.
gonna not do the workshop now?
Exactly.
I just wanted to make sure you still wanted it.
What you hear?
Yeah,
I need to
because
check that, well, you know what?
I think it would be beneficial that we
You got
all
a
have
nice hall?
a workshop.
So, my turn.
Your turn.
Not very much to report. As you already know, both I and Councilman Trujillo did go to SKF, and it's just to reiterate what Councilman Trujillo said. It's important that we as council members really get involved and get to know how that works and really advocate that these rate increases, that yes, they are necessary to fix our problem because they aren't going away and they're only getting worse the more we wait. But that we advocate to say, hey, we need our fair portion to fix our infrastructure here, our existing infrastructure. And if we don't advocate for it, it's easy for that board to say, oh, maybe they only need 0.5% when we really deserve, 4% or 3%. That's just saying. On a second note, Mr. Mayor, I need to attend the waste. What's the regional meeting? It's in Parlier on the 24th at 4 p.m. I'm scheduled to be working out of town that day.
Okay.
So I know if you or you can appoint an alternate to attend.
Okay,
It's
the
city-
24th.
Yeah, 4 p.m. at Parlier, I believe City Hall, Reina? Yeah.
Bring your gun.
I'll check it.
Regional Solid Waste Commission.
Right. 4 p.m.
4 p.m. So,
It's a week from today.
Yeah.
Okay.
and that's it.
Yeah,
Staff,
Blanco.
staff keep the good work, and especially public safety. 4th of July, summer, so I know both our fire and our police are going to be increased calls for service. So, both your departments keep up the good job. Right. That's it. Thank you very
Thanks.
much.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see a conflict at this point, so I'll attend that. I attended actually before I jump in, Golden State Corridor project. Can we have an update on that from Peggy? at COG, who's the engineer on that, just to make sure that we're getting, you know, the Golden State Corridor where they're refurbishing the Golden State Boulevard from Fowler through Selma to Kingsburg. Now I'm hearing that, you know, the bike project, the class 1 bike lane is gonna be put at the end. We're gonna have to fight for it. We're just gonna have to let's have her out and let's please talk to her about making sure that stays in, because that was a big part of that.
They wanted to take it out?
Yeah, you know, I'm hearing that it's not necessarily, it was out for a while, then, you know, bunch of people talked, including me, and it got back in, but now I'm hearing again that, you know, it's gonna be put at the end after the project.
So, yeah, last time we spoke here,
46
in
million
any
budget.
case, we can get with Peggy, but, the design is moving forward.
That's good.
So, and we can have an update in the future. And they are looking to have a public hearing in the community when they get to their 90% phase. They're not there yet, but when they do, they will be coming to all the communities. So,
And then we need to build our case that they need to start here in Selma. Start
Yeah,
in
I
the
mean,
middle and work their way out.
but the first things first, come on out here. You know, let us see what you're doing, you know, where you are on this. And,
Have them
they're-
drive down Golden State and see how they like it.
yeah, go past McDonald's. All right, and then Todd Valeri from the American Ambulance, could we have him do a presentation? Remember, we talked about the ambulance situation with EMS.
I believe
How we're,
we did that last meeting? Oh, I'm sorry,
No,
I'm getting,
you're getting your personnel mixed up. This is Todd from or whoever from American Ambulance that could talk to us about the cost of expanding service for the local ambulances in Selma.
so,
have
I
this week.
believe what we discussed at the last meeting was that, the chief would bring that forward along
Oh,
with
great.
some analysis that he's doing, but it may take a few months.
Okay, great. And then I attended the neighborhood watch meeting last Sunday night. Was organized by Mr. Angel Aravalos, who's graced us with his presence tonight. Thank you for coming out. Appreciated the invitation. We had Councilmember Guerra, Councilmember Avalos as well, and Sergeant Cantu from Selma PD was there. They talked about how the situation is getting better on Sierra View. It's getting better. There's still a field that's part of the county, and people are still going in there and, you know, doing their thing there. So the field owner hopefully can do his part and put a no trespassing sign up there. But one of the requests they had was for a neighborhood watch sign to be put at the corner of, I think, Sierra View and Thompson.
Sierra View and Thompson.
And I have the exact address, and the homeowner was there and said we could put the sign in the yard. He'd be fine with that. Rather than putting it in the cement, we could stick it right there in the yard. I've got the exact address. I can give it to you after the meeting, Shane. I just don't want to do it public. And I can give you their name and contact information. I was just wondering, I think Sergeant Cantu said they have a neighborhood watch sign, and they just need a post from Public Works to put it in, to mount it on. You got it. You got everything. Okay. Can I give you that information? Definitely. Okay, great. Thanks. Now I attended Farmers Market last Thursday night. I appreciate that winding its course through a hotter and hotter summer. I attended that LAFCO meeting. Councilperson Guerin and Avalos talked about, and you know, I just hope that, you know, now that it's been annexed, it can come back and the city can attach conditions for that property owner to pay their fair share for a stoplight at Dinuba and McCall, because that's a location. And I remember when we discussed that was something that they didn't have to do. So hopefully that'll keep moving. And it was also good to go to a meeting where I'm not up here and I'm speaking, because as you saw, you know, it's a different experience, and it's just a good reminder to be, you know, respectful, and remember it's a lot different when you don't go to those meetings very often, and you're on that side. Always good to be respectful and professional. I attended the park community session at Pioneer Village last week that Mike Kirshner led. Very interesting. I'd been to 2 previous ones, and this time we got a request for an amphitheater, and we got more requests for open space and soccer fields and a special needs playground. So I thought it was really positive. Weren't the same people that came out for the park meetings previously. Kind of different set.
Yeah, the first two. In our weekly reader, I think you noticed that I've seen 70% of the people are people and residents I've talked to a lot. But we had about 4 or 5 people I've never met, and one just met over the phone. So it's nice when you have different people showing up and different input. Even though some of the input's the same, it's coming from different people.
And you have 3 more meetings, right?
3 more meetings, yes.
Okay.
And I'll send those out as a reminder.
Great, thank you. And then I want to say thank you to State Senator Hurtado for working on behalf of Selma, her constituents here in Selma. She was instrumental in getting Selma $1.5 million in water recharge money in the state budget. That will definitely help us. That gets us about halfway there to get those conveyances from the storm drains to the ponding basin in the southern part of the city. And I appreciated Senator Hurtado calling me personally today to let me know that we were getting that money. That was a great call. Really appreciated that. There's another bill that we talked about, or I talked about last couple of years. It started out as AB 3179, got vetoed last year. It was reincarnated by Assemblymember Salas as AB 1531, and it was to put ballot language, campaign language in Punjabi. Statewide, they don't hit the 5%, even though they're much more than 5% around here. I would have lowered the threshold to 3%. It didn't even make it out of appropriations this year. However, what did happen was the election code changed. And so there were 6 new languages were added to election code 14201 B1, which makes the polling places and ballot language available in 6 new languages, including Punjabi. So Fresno County was one of those mandated to provide election materials in Punjabi, and that's for 171 precincts. And I have that ballot language if anyone is interested. Last 2 items. Are we going to get back on track meeting with members of the school board? I know for a while a couple of us were meeting with a couple members of the school board, and I think I even mentioned at a previous meeting getting together, maybe having a joint meeting with the school board, maybe at the Arts Center.
And I believe the superintendent of the schools was here at that meeting when that request was made and indicated that she will carry that message back to her board
Okay.
to see if they
Have we heard
were
anything?
receptive. I have not heard anything since then.
Teresa, when I first got elected, the entire board, we all met, in our brief discussion. It wasn't,
Yeah.
2 on 2. It was all of us across from each other.
Great, and it was like a meeting.
It was
publicly
it
announced
was an
meeting.
informational meeting to learn what direction we're going and what direction they're going as far as their school and development and where they're going to generally get an idea where their future development, where they're going to think about education, how they're going to.
Communications are important.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
very
I mean,
important.
these issues don't exist in isolation.
Well,
The issues of bullying can be turned into issues
Well,
of crime in the city, and I think they're
Yeah,
really
because
important to
you
all
want
of us.
when you're building houses and everything, there's going to be schools in areas, but if you don't communicate, you can have the school in the South 40, and the house will be over here, and the school will be over here, and you want close, but working together.
There's a
we-
housing development that's
Yeah.
big. It's really going to be a
Yeah.
game changer
Yeah,
when
it's
all those
a totally game
folks
changer.
come in.
You're looking
terms
at
of
over
affecting the schools.
over 1,000 houses and within.
So,
you know,
I mean, certainly I can send an email.
Maybe just
and
reach out to the
Yeah.
superintendent.
Let them
to
know.
see where they
And
are on that.
also, please know the assistant superintendent is on Team Selma, so we do have the opportunity as well to interact there. And any major projects do get circulated.
Great. Okay, with that,
Well, Mr. Mayor, I forgot to mention one thing. We have a groundbreaking on Friday. So, 10 a.m., correct? So everybody come out to our police station grounds. We're going to be doing a groundbreaking for our police station. So everybody out there, please show up at 10 a.m. and we'll see you on Friday morning.
okay.
Thank you.
And then I think we have a ribbon cutting at G.J. Gardner tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Okay. But I think we're getting to that. With that, we'll move on to our last oral communications. Anyone have anything they'd like to say?
My name is Matthew Rodriguez. I live at 1313 Sarah Street, and I'm coming with an issue that, well, I don't know if it's an issue at all, but I'm kind of in search of information about it. So my uncle lives on Sarah Street on the other side of McCall, at 2437, and he doesn't come to these meetings, but I do. So he asked me to come to the council in search of a way that during the day or during the morning times when the trash can is getting or when the trash is getting picked up or waste or anything, the cans are usually left on the sidewalks, and we're wondering, is that like an ordinance thing, or does waste usually do that for a reason? Because most kids are walking to school, and like if anybody has like any ADA concerns, or some of the sidewalks aren't big enough for like people to walk through. So we're wondering, is it necessary to bring them on or to go on the floor? Or
Do you mean they leave them, when they pick them up, they leave them down?
it's not that they pick them up and leave them, and sometimes they fall and stuff. That just happens. It's nobody's perfect, but just instructing people to put them on the cement rather than off the cement, because then there's like either parking
On
issues
top of the lip
or
of the curb
walking
rather
issues.
than
Yeah, so there's one
under
or the other, really.
They mark. Yeah, they're marked that way, right?
So on the rather on the
Yeah, the garbage cans should be put out by the residents on the curb and gutter pan, which is normally where a car parks rather than sidewalk than the pedestrian right of way.
okay.
I put mine on the top.
I feel like they've been just in my opinion, that a lot of people don't, and they put them on the top where the sidewalks are. So is there a way we can like publicize that or get
That's
that
how they
out?
pick them up. I mean, that's how they mark it.
'Cause my biggest issue is the kids walking to school in the mornings, or people in wheelchairs or any ADA non-compliance. So
Yep. No.
It doesn't create any blockage in the street or encroachment if you put it down off the curb into the street. It doesn't
that's
block
Yeah.
the cars.
that's the other issue.
I put mine on the street every year. My neighbors, they put them on the sidewalk. I don't know why.
Yeah.
You put them on the sidewalk, a car will park in front of it, and then you don't get your trash picked up.
The reason we put it on the curb and on the sidewalk, because years we've been asked to do that.
Yeah, it says it on the cart to put it on the sidewalk.
And I have asked Waste Management, because apparently they allow it to be put in the curb, that they should do some kind of an educational for the community, because most of us are old and we remember what we've done for 40 years. So just need to be told it's okay to put it in the curb because we put it on the sidewalk.
Yeah, man, throw it to the curb.
Do we have any code on that?
Bob Allen.
You put
Is
code enforcement on it.
Well, I mean, do we really have a clear position on it, where the trash cans should go?
I live by Jackson, and I walk my grandkids. Teresa Salas, 3221 Lee. I walk my kids to Jackson, my grandkids, and on Wednesdays, that's trash day for us. It's an obstacle course trying to get there because of all the trash cans. And then when they empty them, they plop them back down, but they don't end up like right at the edge. They're in the middle of the sidewalk, so it's really hard to get by. But I did not know that they were supposed to be in the gutter. If you would let people know that, then that would solve a big problem.
Be nice to have Waste Management give us
Wow.
an
Sorry,
opinion.
controversy here, yo.
An opinion on that, the sidewalk or
Yeah.
gutter.
I was just kind of wondering what the
We can
avenue would
follow
be.
up with them. Thank you.
That's a good question. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. Can we follow up with Waste Management on that? All right, great. Thanks.
And they're gonna say it doesn't matter what you want. I said, well, let's just tape it on the bottom.
He makes a good point. Anybody else have anything to say?
Uh, 2376 Sierra View Street. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council. I'd like to publicly thank.
You are your name?
Oh, Angel Revelo. Sorry.
Thank you.
I'd like to publicly thank Sergeant Gilbert Cantu, Mayor Scott Robertson, Councilwoman Sarah Guerra, and former Mayor Jim Avalos for attending a productive neighborhood watch meeting with the folks in our area. I also like to thank President Andrew Guzman, who is the president of the Selma Police Officer Association, for donating some beverages for our meeting. Neighbors were happy to have the opportunity to discuss the concerns with city officials. Surely it was great to have that one-on-one dialogue with our leaders of our city. Mayor Robertson building relationships with the people in our neighborhood, Councilman Avalos speaking his truth on issues that have heavy merit, Councilwoman Guerra asking the right questions and having a thirst for knowledge. I believe that it was a good time to have the meeting right before the summer starts because activity augments during this time of season in our area and surely throughout the city. So it's wise to be aware and prepared. Little by little, things are getting better. Although the temperature was quite warm, while mosquitoes and gnats were picking away at our skin, that did not stop our neighbors or council member attendees from engaging in a public safety conversation. I can say not only were council member attendees good at fighting for the people of our neighborhood, but excellent at swatting away mosquitoes and gnats. In all seriousness, I'd like to thank all the people who have public service and who spend a lot of time and effort in making our city better. Shane, all you folks, and the gentle lady of the press, you too. Thank all you folks for it takes a lot of time and effort for doing this. When I think about time, for me, it's not really like a number on a wall with a couple hands pointing to it. I think it's something that we should all reflect upon, in which, what does time really mean, right? I think time means how you live your life. And it's not some kind of subjective answer, or excuse me, it's not an objective answer, but I think it's something subjective that we should all kind of think about, because time is just merely, something, again, not on a wall. It's really how you live your life. And I think that's a derivative of a question that we should all try to answer whenever we have time. So thank you for your time, and thank you.
Thank you. Great.
Good job. Good job. Hello, my name is Richard Vargas. I'm at 6224 East Floral Avenue. I've lived here in Selma for about 10 years now. You brought up 3 subjects today, well, words that just, I wasn't planning on speaking tonight, but you brought up budget, and you brought up code enforcement, and you brought up fair housing, which all leads me to where my heart is homelessness. And I see this, the population of the street people, I like to call them, the homeless people, increasing day by day in this city. And I'm hoping that the city council here put something in their budget as to what they hope to do with all the people moving in and living on the sidewalks and the streets. And I say that respectfully because I'm part of Leslie Nelson's beautification committee, and we cleaned up the camp that was right there by Pioneer Village, but we all knew what was gonna happen. We all knew what was gonna happen. They were gonna move across the street, and we knew that, but that was in the railroad's property, so we took our hands off of it. Well, now all those people got moved out, and where did they go? Who knows, right? In the crevices and cubbies and byways and highways. I hope that the city seriously considers what is happening and just doesn't close their eyes to the situation that's taking place, because it's happening everywhere, and we know that there is no solid solution or foolproof answer to what is happening. But I do hope that this city council has compassion on what is taking place in this city and takes it seriously. I know they don't need food. They don't need food. There's so many people giving them food, and so many organizations giving them food. They need to know where they can lay their heads at night. They need to know where they can do that and do it safely, because what I see happening here in this city is now it's starting to turn into hatred and bitterness, and it's almost turning into hate language, what I see going on to the people that are living here. They're being blamed for things that they're not doing. We know there's a lot of tweakers in this city, and the homeless people are getting blamed for what a lot of the tweakers are doing. But I say that compassionately because it's just we know it's not gonna get any better. We know that. So I hope you plan now, because you're planning for 2020 as it is, 2021, 2023. Plan for next year it's gonna double. You know it's gonna double. You know the population of the street people is gonna double in a couple of years, and it's only gonna increase more and more. So somehow, some way, I hope that you're thinking about what you're gonna do about this. Anyway, I just needed to share that with you. Thank you for giving me the time. And you all seem like beautiful people. I wanted to come and see your personalities. I see you on the papers and when you were running and everything, and you're all beautiful people. All of you are, and I mean that. Thank you so much.
Thanks. We
Good
represent
evening,
beautiful citizens.
Yeah. He bragged about us, Bob. You better brag about us.
I always brag about all of you. It's hard work sitting up there. We have several things going on. I'm Bob Allen, the Executive Director of the Selma Chamber. Tomorrow we have an event at 10 in the morning. We're excited about this. GJ Gardner is under new ownership. Destiny De Leon, who started with GJ Gardner when it started in Selma and Kingsburg, in the middle of April became the official owner. They closed escrow on the business, and she's excited to be the new representative of GJ Gardner in the South Fresno County. So we're going to celebrate that tomorrow at 10 o'clock at GJ Gardner's office here in town. So we'd ask that you join us. On the 19th, we have another exciting event. This is one of our mixers each year that we look forward to, and that's going to be at the Second Chance Animal Shelter at 5 o'clock. They always have great games and dogs to look at and to adopt. And so we would ask that you come and bring your raffle prize and a gift for the animal shelter, either food or blankets, but they prefer money. They can use it better that way, okay? So 5 o'clock on the 19th, and then just a reminder that July 3rd, we are having an Independence Day celebration at Selma High School. We will not be in the stadium because it's not ready, but below that, where we've always had parking, is where people are going to be asked to sit that night and watch the fireworks that will be displayed from the same area we have for many, many years, and enjoy that as a community event. The mayor, I'll be calling you to make sure you're there. You speak that night. You can be there, make your speech, and go take care of the dog. Okay? But all of you, just a reminder that we will be having July 3rd. So thank you very much.
I think it's gunfire. Thanks very much. Anybody else have anything to say tonight? All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We are adjourned.